large extent, the governing party is always the party that drives the agenda for an election. It sits in number 10. It has the country's leader. That is quite an advantage. But Mr Cameron is being run close by Labour. He hasn't really been able to shake off Ed Miliband for all the criticisms of the Labour leader's performance. He's still very much in contention. He could come out on top. But I think what's very different about this election is that the marginal parties, like UKIP in particular, which we saw as a bit of a blip on the screen at the last election, now look like they are driving the agenda to the extent that Mr Cameron can't ignore their demands, whether it's for a referendum on Europe or whether it's for a harsher policy approach to immigration.
My best guess is we'll probably have a minority government. Rather than the coalition. It all depends on how well or badly the Lib Dems do. If they do better than expected, they could be a partner of either David Cameron again or less likely of Labour. But there are so many imponderables, like the balance between the Scottish Nationalists and Labour in Scotland. How does UKIP affect the result? How confident people feel about the economy? But certainly all the indications are we'll have another hung parliament.
The big issue isn't really whether it's a Conservative-led or a Labour-led government. For us, it's about, do we get a government of the traditional parties or the non-traditional parties? We see that as the big issue for this election, in the sense that if it's a government of the traditional parties, so Labour or Conservative, or with the Lib Dems, all those parties are signed up for significant further fiscal consolidation, and it makes sense for them to front-load that fiscal consolidation. So actually over the next couple of years, we don't think it may not make, in aggregate, at least from our GDP forecast perspective, a lot of difference.
It's certainly a defining election for the UK for one big reason. We've had lots of hard-fought elections before. We've had lots of elections that looked like they might go one way and went another. 1992 springs to mind when the Tories seized victory out of the jaws of defeat. But I think this time we're seeing the fruits of a structural change. We're seeing the two big parties between them not commanding enough votes to be confident that they can build on that and provide a government that could get us through the next few years with any confidence. Both of them share that worry, share that anxiety. So I think we will be seeing a big challenge to the body politic and perhaps more calls for a different election system. But either way, we're in for a rock and roll period just after the election.